How to get more landlords on your books. Today, I'm joined by David Adams, who is an estate letting agent from the Northwest, has over 600 properties under management, and is growing at an exponential rate. How do you get more landlords on your books? Talk to me.
So, Chris, how do you get more landlords on your books? Stop offering a free valuation. I think the industry is just fixated on this. We have only one service, which is to give a free valuation.
Okay.
So what you have to do as a letting agent is diversify your offering. So quite a lot of agents, if you ask a letting agent now, what service do you offer? They'll say, we do two things: we do lettings and we do management. But the reality is you've got to diversify your services. So if you ask us what we do at Cavendish, we help landlords buy properties. We help landlords sell properties. We also help them restructure their portfolio. So let's say, for example, you've got a landlord that comes to you and they've got 10 properties. Some of them are performing, some of them aren't. They've got rents that haven't been increased for 10 years, maybe 15 years. Mortgages have all come to the end of their term. And what they need is someone to look at their whole portfolio. And it might be a case of maybe sell a couple, buy a couple more. Times have changed.
So portfolio management, almost like a stockbroker would look at your stocks and shares,
yeah,
and actually say, right, where do you want to be in 10 years' time, and will this portfolio match what you want?
yeah. I mean, we help quite a lot of landlords refinance as well. There's quite a lot of landlords who come to us who are.
And then what about, you mentioned before you switched the cameras on, you were talking about off market selling between landlords and landlords. That's a big one that you're a big fan of as well, isn't it?
Yes. So we came across this a couple of years ago, and when landlords started to exit the market, we were finding that our sales team was selling quite a lot of the rental stock, which, from one angle you think, great, we're selling some property.
You're losing them, aren't you?
Yeah, correct. So the lettings team used to get their back up. So we thought, right, we need to plug this hole somehow. So we developed this off-market landlord-to-landlord matchmaking service, we call it.
And you can earn quite good money on that one, can't you?
Yeah, you can actually earn double what you would get from selling the property. So we actually act for the buyer rather than the seller on these, and we charge the buyer a 2% sourcing fee. So almost double.
So if a landlord comes to you and says, I need to, because a lot of landlords get to mid-late 60s and they want to, get the money out, you don't pass it over to sales. You actually say, right, we'll go and find you a buyer. It won't cost you anything.
Yeah, correct. So now let's say if you're a landlord looking to sell, and if you're in England, you've got to give 2 months notice currently with a Section 21. If you're in Wales, you've got to give 6 months notice to end the tenancy. So you've lost 6 months straight away.
And the Renters' Right Bill's going to really mess it up, because you won't be able to sell it if you.
No, then if you don't sell it, you can't re-let it
for a year.
And I mean, that's really going to change things. But if you put a property on the market for sale, that's an ex-rental. Let's say it takes a month or a couple of months to sell, and then we know how long it takes to go through the conveyancing process now, don't we? So if you put a property on the market for sale, the reality is it might not go through for 6-7 months maybe. Whereas if you sell it off market when you've got a tenant in situ, you're getting the rent every month up until completion.
Why do you think most agents don't do that? I mean, if you don't mind me saying, this is what Sally Lawson teaches, isn't it?
It is, yeah, it is. And to be honest,
which is exceptional, by the way. Big fan of Sally.
It is, yeah. I wouldn't have thought of this myself unless Sally had told us this. To be honest, I know Sally does it in her agencies, and I think, looking from outsider in, you would think this sounds crazy. If someone wants to sell, we'll pass them on to the sales team. Well, the reality is, as we said before, is that the sales team will sell it. They'll get a fee, happy days, but then you lose that landlord on your books.
Too right. What else can you do to get more managed properties? Because your first bit, what you've just said there, is different avatars targeting different landlords with their problems, and then selling to the needs, their problems, and a bit. And one of those is landlords try to extinguish the market, because if you're not losing it, you're actually gaining, aren't you?
Yeah.
Other things that you can do to attract landlords.
So
I want to particularly look at your marketing,
marketing.
apart from targeting Facebook adverts.
Yeah. So marketing wise, you've got to talk about compliance, which I know isn't the most exciting thing in the world,
Okay.
but you've got to talk about compliance. So
How is that going to attract a managed landlord with someone else? Might attract a self-managed landlord.
yeah, so
It's not going to attract someone who's already on the market with Matthews or someone
no,
else.
so okay, so at the moment we're facing a very big change. Obviously, we've got the renters' rights bill coming,
Okay.
and there's quite a lot of letting agents who are telling landlords that this thing ain't ever going to come, and actually they're not going to ban Section 21, and you don't need to worry about it. Whereas the reality is, it is coming. So our messaging, our marketing is all about the changes that are coming. So you've got the renters' rights bill,
Okay.
what we're talking about, and our big push is to help as many landlords as possible stay safe and compliant.
Okay.
And there's lots of things that we talk about to landlords who might have properties with other agents
Okay.
that their agents aren't talking about.
Is there any other type of marketing? Because there's one massive one you've missed. If I'd like to add value to the ladies and gentlemen watching this,
Yeah,
the two main ways that you can attract landlords to a letting agency, because this is what I do, is you have Sally's method, which is find out the avatar of your letting agent, of your landlord who has a problem, and sell a solution to that problem.
correct. Yeah.
Okay. And I think that's a fantastic way to attract landlords. Another way, and they are not either or, you should do both, is talk about the one thing that every landlord is obsessed about.
The property market. Yeah. Not a lot of people talk about it, do they? It's all listing, listing, listing.
That's
Which I know drives you crazy, doesn't it?
well, whenever you tell someone you're an estate agent, what's the first thing they ask you?
What's the market like? What's doing at the moment?
So why don't estate agents talk about the market?
I think they'd rather make their social media look like Rightmove.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Listing, 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 testimonial, listing, listing, pie chart, listing, listing,
Yeah.
listing, listing.
Yeah.
Do you know why I don't like pie charts?
No, go on.
Because it's bragging,
Because it's bragging.
isn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, because
That you're better than someone else because you're comparing yourself against a competitor.
but usually that's talking about market share, isn't it?
Yes. So
Why is
why is that important to a landlord or a homeowner?
Who cares? I don't think that's important. If you're a seller looking to sell, and why would I know the analogy that I think you've used before is, if let's say you're looking to use an accountant, if an accountant put on social media that they filed the most tax returns last month, would that incite you to go and use them? Then why would estate agents?
I find it fascinating that hardly anyone talks about the property market.
Yeah, no, I do as well, to be honest.
Do you?
Yeah, no, we do.
Excellent. Good.
Yeah, we do. We do
So
use letters as well.
That's the thing, is you talk about compliance. You've put the fear of God up them with compliance,
Yeah.
which is the fear.
Yeah.
And you talk about the fun bit, which is what's happening to house prices.
Absolutely, yeah.
And all of that will bring people into your sphere of influence, into your sales funnel. And as long as you've got a good CRM that can nurture them and talk about them and tickle them, eventually they'll come through. And that's where in the previous video, we talked about your excellent landlord webinars. Do check it out, ladies and gentlemen. Then eventually that you do a number of those and eventually you'll get them.
Correct.
Because one thing is this, you can either spend 200 grand on a landlord portfolio of 100 properties, or you can spend a bit of time and effort when it is just time and effort, it doesn't cost money, and actually get more landlords in or organically.
Absolutely.
David, thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Chris.